We're back at the new house today in this rebuild, remodel project, whatever you want to call this. And I know I haven't filmed much here lately, but it isn't because I haven't been busy. So today I'm going to bring you up to speed on exactly where we're at, what's going on, what we've got left to do. And at the end, I'm going to show you a really useful tool for helping to manage just such a project. Starting with the kitchen, we finally got the subfloor done. Okay, this was the culmination of a lot of work here, and this started with us having the floor completely ripped out and literally looking down at the ground and the floor joists underneath. Okay, so we had a brace under the floor joist. There was a lot of bounce in them. It wasn't a solid floor. Okay, well, there was a brace drop seal under the floor joist, but it wasn't bracing much. So we redid all of that, strengthened that up. Then we worked on the floor joists themselves. We replaced some, put some new ones in, strengthened some of the ones that were already here, and then finally the subfloor on top. And for the subfloor material, I went with Advantech. Okay, I couldn't decide between it or plywood. Plywood's traditional. But this is supposed to be really good at dealing with moisture. It's got a lot of resin in it. It's a particle board, but it's pretty stout particle board. This is some stiff stuff. It's tongue and groove, and it's got some weight to it. You feel it, all right? That's what you want from a floor. You want something solid, and in the kitchen and bathroom, you want something that can handle moisture. And what sold me on this is I've got a friend that he's a builder, been building for decades. And when this first came out, he said he tried some, and he was curious how good it was. So he took a piece of scrap he had left over from a job, about like this, and he just set it outside his house in his yard. And he came back, he said 6 or 8 months later, and he said the weather hadn't affected it in the least. The only thing it had done is the sun hitting it had changed the color of it a little bit, and that was it. Okay, that was pretty impressive. So that's what I went with, and this is solid, and I'm happy with this. Next up, and this was the big project over the last few weeks, we got the footer poured for the new addition. Okay, that was got a lot more complicated than it needed to have been. Okay, and I say we, me and my dad have been working on this, and he's been doing more than I have, but he took a bad fall a couple of weeks ago, and he busted up his heel real bad, and it looked like he was gonna have to have surgery, and he was gonna be down for a while. Not to mention a lot of pain. All right, well, it's looking now like it might not be as bad as we thought. Okay, but we had just had the trench dug for the footer, and normally you would pour the footer the same day that you dug it out or the next day. Well, I couldn't do that because I had to get in here and put in the new drain line and tie it into the septic tank, and it's under the footer, so I had to do all of that, then put in my forms and backfill to hold the concrete back for the footer. So all of this had to be done and in place before we could pour. Well, as soon as we were ready to start this, that's when my dad broke his heel, and then I twisted my knee real bad a couple of days after that, and that put me down for a week. Right? Thankfully, mine wasn't near as bad as it could have been. Right. And normally things happen, and if you get set back a week, you get set back a week, 6 months, a year, whatever it is, we just deal with it. Okay, but this needed to been done because by the trench already being here, we were expecting rain, and we're fixing to get into our rainy season. This would have turned into one giant mess. It would have turned into a pond. Okay, well, there's no telling how many months it would have been before this dried out enough to be able to pour the footer, because the ground's got to be solid underneath it. And this is red clay, and it can hold some water. Well, thankfully, it was dry enough that what little rain we did get, it soaked it up and wasn't an issue. And then the guy that dug it out, he came in, put in the rebar, handled the pour. My knee healed up, and I was able to get out here and get the new drain line in and forms done and backfilled and all that good stuff. So yeah, a lot more stressful than it needed to be, but it's done, and that was a relief. Now for things I need to be working on at the moment. Okay, and this is a drop seal right here. Okay, I talked about drop seal in the kitchen. This just adds rigidity to the floor joist to keep the floor from bouncing. All right, so there's wooden beams going down the cement blocks, and it just strengthens all this up. Okay, the main supports are actually on beams that run to piers. Well, this house is a 4-room house. 4 of these in the house, 1 under each room. Well, we've redone all of them except for this one, and my dad did most of the work on this one, but it just needs a little more work done to it. A few little things lacking on it to get this one finished up. Another thing that needs to be done is we're adding purlings in between the joists. All right, so just cut off 2x4s. And the reason for that is this house doesn't have subfloor. All right, the flooring that's in there now is gonna be the subflooring, but the way this was constructed, we'll just say it's drafty. All right, so we're gonna put some purlings in here, 2x4s, just to block off this space, and also I'm gonna go in with some foam, spray foam, and seal that up just to insulate the house really well. Not a lot of trouble, it's just underneath the house, cutting 2x4s to the exact length and then putting them in place and nailing them. Just takes a little time, just something else that needs to be done. Now for today's project, I've got to work on my septic tank. When the guy dug out from around it with the backhoe, he hit the tank and he cracked the corner. So I've got to put some Quikrete in here and patch that up. And I was just noticing too, I got a problem with my drain. The slope's wrong on it. It's sloping the wrong way. So yeah, I got to get in here and dig this out and get that fixed too. So I'm fixing to get to work. The slope is actually really good on the main drain pipe going under the footer. Which, hey, that's a relief. That just means I don't have to dig out the backside like I just did this one. All right, the problem's this joint right here. Okay, I just got to get this up, and I think the pipe's right. Just the weight of the dirt backfilling here just put too much pressure. I didn't have enough support under the pipe. So, hey, I'm glad I caught this now, and it's an easy fix. Well, this is definitely turning into more than I hoped it would be, but that's okay, we're getting it. Okay, I got the drain pipe finished. It turned into a job. Hey, it always does, but the more I got into it, the tireder I got, the less filming there was. Honestly, that's what had happened. So, okay, but it is finished now. And what had happened, where that joint was for the clean out, okay, it was like this. Instead of being flat, it was U-shaped like this, sagging in the middle. My slope was wrong going into the tank. That's not good. That's disaster waiting to happen. My glue joint had actually failed on the drain pipe. So hey, it's good catching all this now. It's fixed. I ended up having to chisel out from around the opening in the concrete, and I had to take that concrete down about 1/4 of an inch to get the fall right. But anyway, it's good now. Okay, now for the tool I mentioned at the beginning that can be very useful for any of us taking on such a big project. Whiteboard and a list. And it doesn't have to be a whiteboard, it could be a piece of paper, Excel spreadsheet, whatever you want to use. But just having a list of the few things you're working on. And I could have 1,000,000 things on this list. You've seen the house, there's no shortage of things to do there. But I can't do 1,000,000 things. I can only work on one thing at a time, get it finished. That's it. Okay, so I don't need to be getting overwhelmed with all the, endless number of things I could be doing and go trying to work on this and then jump on this. One thing, however long it takes, get it done. And that's the value of the list like this. Keep it simple. I've got 6 items on here. Kitchen floor is crossed off, done. Footer, done. That was a big one, okay? Foundation wall, that's next. And my dad's good for masonry. I could put up something. All right, he's down, and I'm very limited on time. I'm going to get some quotes from some masons and just go from there. So if it ends up costing too much, then I'll figure it out. If it's pretty reasonable, let the masons take care of that one. But that'll be another huge step with that foundation wall. The footers, that's out of my comfort zone. I don't do concrete, I do wood. All right, get that foundation wall in, then we're moving on to framing. All right, septic tank. It's not finished. You've seen how bad that corner is. It's worse than I thought it was. Hey, things usually are, but anyway. All right, what I'd planned on today was putting forms around the septic tank and then mixing concrete, quickcrete actually, and then just dumping it in there and just to reinforce all of that. Okay, well, we ended up on the drain line, which that worked out good because it wasn't right and it had to be fixed, and I'm just thankful I caught it now. Okay, so it is fixed, but I still got to get in there and do the other. Okay, drop seal. I showed you the drop seal under that one room. Blocking are the purlings I mentioned. It's going to go between the floor joists just to seal that off, and then I'll be putting foam in there also just to insulate the house basically. So that's where we're at with the house, and progress didn't stop over the past couple of weeks, but it did slow down, especially with my dad being on the disabled list. And I'll keep y'all posted on how he comes out. He's going to meet with his doctor this week, and then he'll know more and have an idea of how long he's going to be laid up. And then I twisted my knee a couple of weeks ago, so that had me down for a week. Yeah, we wasn't getting much done then, but thank the Lord, I'm a lot better, which honestly, I paid for it today. That week of absolutely not being able to do anything and just sitting there. Yeah, I wasn't crawling back to the truck at the end of the day, but I was that close to it. But I talked before about us Christians being weak mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's how we get strong, at least physically. Do this enough times and it'll toughen you right up. So I should be tough before we get through with this. All right, God bless, and y'all have a great day.